Hi, I'm Chef Richard Miller. Welcome to Chef Richard's Kitchen. Today we're going to make eggnog. This is coming up towards the holiday season. In fact, we're a couple of weeks away from Christmas. And what a better time to, make eggnog for your friends and family. So that's what we're going to do. And today you're going to see how A, easy it is, and B, how reasonably inexpensive it is. So when you go to the store and see one of these little quart bottles, or half gallon, with $7, $8 or more stuck on it, make your own. First off, what we're going to do is we're going to make it like we did the creme brulee. We made the creme brulee by mixing our eggs and sugar, mixing our milk and cream, and then we have to temper the eggs with this a little at a time, so we don't scramble our eggs is what it is. Alright? And then we put it back in here, we get it up to temperature. Essentially that's pasteurizing it, killing all the bacteria, whatever. Cooling it down, we have our eggnog. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to have is we have 6 egg yolks. Not eggs, just egg yolks. We have a half cup of sugar. We have a 1/4 cup of cognac, and I'll show you when to put this in. If you don't want to put alcohol in there, you don't have to. It's purely optional. A lot of the eggnog nowadays does have Jack Daniels or some kind of Tennessee whiskey or Irish whiskey, whatever. In this case, I'm just using a cognac in there. We have a half teaspoon of nutmeg. We have just a little pinch of cinnamon. We have a couple of cinnamon sticks. These are mostly, when we put it in for garnish. A 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. A couple of pinches of salt. We have 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And we have 2 cups of milk. If you want to use, in this case, I'm just using 2%. If you want to use whole milk, that's fine. Skim milk probably gets a little anemic looking. I'd probably use 2 or whole milk. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and put in our eggs, or yolks. Our sugar, and now let's whisk together. Okay, here we have our egg mixture. And if you were standing here, you'd see that the sugar hasn't dissolved in there. Why? It's cold. If we heat this up when we put our warm milk and cream in there, it'll be just fine. It'll all dissolve in there. Now, let's go ahead and put our milk and our cream. Into our saucepan, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to heat this up. Now, I'm trying something different right now. What I'm doing is I've gotten myself a little induction pan or a little induction burner here, and I'm going to see how this works. It's really the only time I've ever used it before was when I put a pan of water on there, see how long it took to boil. And actually it took less time than on the stove. But I wanted to do this because it can be sometimes annoying when you're having to follow me to the stove or whatever. So I just decided I'd try this. We'll see what happens. right, now one thing you do have to kind of watch with anything is we don't want to, scald or burn, the milk and cream here. What we want to do is we want to get it up to about 160, 165 degrees, somewhere around in there. Then we can temper our eggs. And you know me, I don't take a chance. I use a thermometer. We're up to about 115, 120. We're getting up to about 128, up to 130. So we'll keep stirring this to make sure that it heats evenly until it gets to about 160, and then we'll turn it off. We're up to 140. And if you remember seeing my episode on creme brulee, you remember I was always putting the thermometer in there. In fact, even when I was baking it in ramekins, I kept sticking the thermometer in there. And that way, you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to come out with, consistent results rather than looking at it and I think that's about done. Use your thermometer. $150. Actually, the top doesn't get hot. What it is it's induction, magnetic or electrical, magnetic waves reacting with the metal in the pan is what makes it, or going through that, which heats it. $160. So now I went ahead and turned my induction off. Now let's go ahead, and here's where we have to temper. And if we don't temper this way, what we're going to end up with is we're going to end up with scrambled eggs, and that we don't want. So just take a little milk at a time. And whisk it in. What that does is it just heats it, at a very uniform rate. Oops. All right, now we're going to pour the rest in, but we're going to do it very, very slowly, just like we did for the tempering. Okay, we're going to put a little of it in. Now we're going to put in just a little bit of salt, and I don't mean a lot, I mean just a couple pinches. We're going to put in our half teaspoon of nutmeg. Alright, we see how we've gotten it nice incorporated in here. Now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pasteurize it. And what that means is we're going to go ahead and put it back into the saucepan, and we're going to let it come up to a simmer again, about 160, 165 degrees. All right, let's go ahead and turn on the heat. Let's pour our mixture in. And now we can go ahead and heat it. Once again, this is still it's a pretty fragile mixture. In other words, it's not something you can just go ahead and turn it up, let it boil, and say, oh, let it cool down. No, you have to be kind of careful of it. So I'm going to keep whisking it kind of continuously until it gets up to temperature. Or about 130, so we're going back on our way up. Okay, right now is when I sometimes break up a cinnamon stick and go ahead and put that in there. Remember, we are going to strain this, before we serve it. So we're fine there. And I want to take and I want to put in a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And at this point, this is where you would put in your alcohol if so desired. And I'm going to put in about a 1/4 cup of the cognac. Now, if you've got kids or something like that, there isn't going to be a lot of alcohol left in there. But at the same time, if you don't want alcohol, fine. Remember, eggnog, traditionally doesn't have alcohol in it. About 150. $162. So let's go ahead and turn this off. You'll still hear the fan inside cooling down for a little bit, but as you can see, it never did get hot. It just lets the pan get hot. Now, this will start thickening, with the egg yolk mixture and with the cream. It's going to start thickening, and we're going to go ahead and strain this, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator, and we're going to let it sit, and we're going to let it cool for a while. Then we'll bring it out, and we'll have eggnog. All right. Let me get the strainer in the pan. We'll go ahead and strain it in. All right. Welcome back. Now, So we should be, oh yeah, we're getting down about 150, so it's coming down. But let's go ahead now and go ahead and strain it. Okay, you see in here, I don't know if you can see this or not, but we've got our cinnamon sticks in here, and there's a little clump of nutmeg, there's a little bit of what looks like, where a little bit of the egg got scrambled, a couple little, places in there. We strain it out, now we have a very smooth mixture. Now, after this cools down, if you really want it smooth, I've seen people put it in a blender. Nah, I'm not, that kind of sold on smooth. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to let it cool down. Then we're going to have a cup. All right? So I'll see you in about 30 minutes. Don't go far. All right, welcome back. It's been about a half hour, and although it's not refrigerated and chilled yet, it's thickened up a little so we can go ahead and we can serve it. And how do you serve it? Well, to me, it's just put it in a ladle. Put a couple of ladles worth in. Take and sprinkle just a little bit of cinnamon or nutmeg on the top, and depending on the depth of it, you could put a cinnamon stick in there and go ahead and garnish it that way. So all we have to do is just one last thing. Wow, that is really good. And considering it's good, you can make it with any alcohol or none that you want. If you want different spices in there, you can. Different alcohol, you can. And, it's a fraction of the cost what they charge you in the grocery store. So, with that said, thank you again for watching my episode. We'll look forward to you next time. In the meantime, take care, God bless, and remember that cooking should always be fun. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next episode.